I hate watching this stuff. Let's watch this one.
Get rolling. Welcome to the KRAKOW reports. What's up with Russia? Oh my gosh. Let's find out. All right, I'm Mr. Simon. Nice to see you. Welcome back to the KRAKOW reports. We got to get right into it. I got so much stuff today. I'm gonna have to do another show this week. I can't keep up. There's so much going on. Let's jump right into it. So the first thing is Telegraph. Go.
It's Friday,
There she
the
is.
21st of August. 4 years and 178
These
days
guys are good.
since the full-scale
These guys are
invasion
really good.
began.
Really good
Today,
coverage.
as Russia is accused of yet another incursion into NATO airspace, we get reports of a major Ukrainian drone attack on occupied Crimea. Kyiv is apparently seeking approval again from Elon Musk, this time to use Starlink in strikes on Russian missile launchers. Meanwhile, Russia is defenseless in the Mediterranean for the first time in a decade. Plus, a bizarre twist in the story of the suspected Nord Stream sabotage.
A bizarre twist?
And can
You don't
you guess?
say. You remember the Nord Stream pipeline that got sabotaged and it blew up? And did the Russians do it to their own pipeline? Did the CIA do it? It was McDonald's. I don't know. It was Russia. I don't know. I haven't watched the story. I'm watching it with you.
And can you guess which American music artist is set to perform in Saint Petersburg in October?
I have no idea. Okay, so American musical artist playing in Saint Petersburg in October. All right, so you guys, I'll tell you in the next episode, okay? First person that puts the correct answer in the comments, don't cheat, don't look it up. I want to guess, or maybe you know. The first person to get the right answer in the comments gets a prize. Maybe. No promises. But there's a prize available.
Let's go first with the Russian strikes on Ukraine. Yesterday, after its massive overnight attack on the Holosivsky district in Kyiv, Russia also launched a daytime raid that killed at least 2 people. Kyiv Mayor Vitaly Klitschko said that a critical infrastructure facility was, I quote, deliberately targeted for the first time in several months. He did not specify which facility was targeted or the extent of the damage. Ukraine is in mourning today after the overnight raid that left at least 15 people killed and 40 injured. Russia also attacked the border checkpoint at the Ukraine-Moldova border for a second night in a row. The border checkpoint is in the Odessa region, and they struck last night with drones, hitting the Tabaki International checkpoint on the border with Moldova. That's according to Ukraine's state border.
Putin wants. He wants Odessa. And if he doesn't come home with Odessa, he's done. And he's not going to get it, so.
Border Guard service. The attack damaged the checkpoint's buildings and structures, forcing it to close, and the traffic is now being redirected to other border crossings. A Russian aircraft is suspected of violating Finland's airspace over the western Gulf of Finland.
Moscow is running out of hardware and ammunition and missiles and men, and they know it. So they're going to push back heavily on disinformation. And they are, and they always have been. And since it is such an effective weapon, you know they're not going to quit doing it. So these NATO incursions, and they're using disinformation to go, oh, it wasn't us. You know how they are.
An investigation has been opened, but no information has been released on the aircraft type, the duration, or the flight path. This is yet another increase in Russian provocations on NATO's eastern flank. Just as a reminder, a previous suspected Russian violation occurred in Finland on May 27th, when a Russian military aircraft was suspected of entering the airspace of Porkala. Earlier yesterday, Romania deployed F-16 fighter jets against a naval drone loaded with explosives, reported on yesterday's show.
That's
near the Neptune deep gas project in the Black Sea.
Crazy.
And the Romanian president has blamed Russia for the incident. And then earlier this week, on August 16th, a NATO fighter shot down a drone in the Romanian airspace after it entered from the direction of Moldova. Let's go now to Ukraine strikes on Russia and on the occupied territories. Zelensky has confirmed a drone attack on the oil refinery operated by Lukoil in Perm, 1,500 kilometers from Ukraine. It was first shared on Telegram accounts. It has now been confirmed. Here's what Zelensky said. We continue to use our long-range sanctions to return the consequences of the war to where it came from. The last attack on this particular oil refinery was 3 weeks ago on July 29th. Russia's defense ministry claimed its air defenses shot down 325 Ukrainian drones overnight. And the Ukrainian media is reporting a massive drone attack in Crimea overnight. As Dom mentioned yesterday, the Travia power station near Simferopol was hit by a swarm of jet-powered Ukrainian drones. It is the second largest power station in Crimea. Several fires and 15 explosions were reported by residents, as well as power outages in several areas of the peninsula, such as Sevastopol, Jankoy, Kerch and Simferopol. There had already been massive electricity outages the previous night across the peninsula, also due to strikes. On the other side of the Kerch Strait, reported by online publication.
So Odessa is the prize. Odessa is in Crimea. It's on the western coast of Crimea, which is essentially an island connected by a thin, swampy peninsula. So, if they give up Crimea, if all the Russians leave Crimea and they can't supply the troops that are in Crimea, they're going to lose it. He's not going to get it. He can't have it. Too bad. Go home, Putin.
In Tent, which covers the south of Ukraine, a power station in the town of Taman in Russia was also hit. It supplies electricity to Crimea through a power bridge. Its peak capacity is slightly over 800 megawatts, more than half of the peninsula's maximum demand. Completely taking out that power bridge out of commission would not destroy Crimea's power grid, it's important to note, but it would also lead to very, very strict electricity rationing schedules for the population, which will make the coming winter very, very hard for both electricity and heating. In recent weeks, the Ukrainian armed forces have damaged, to varying degrees, all major power generation facilities in Crimea: the Balaklava thermal power plant, the Tavria thermal power plant, and the Saki combined heat and power plant. Meanwhile, Ukraine's 59th Unmanned Systems Brigade, also known as Signum, continues to target motorway M18, nicknamed the Highway of Death. It comes from Russia through Mariupol and then down to Crimea, and is also known as the Novorossiya Highway, so New Russia Highway. It's one of the main supply routes to Crimea, linking the south of Kherson Oblast to the peninsula through the Chonha bridges. On its Instagram account, the brigade claims to have significantly hampered the supply of personnel, ammunition and fuel to the Russian army, turning a once safe route into a trap. They say that the artery is now completely under their fire control, hitting trucks and trains.
Once again, so this is the, what do they call it? The Highway of Death?
Line that everything is under control. However, residents of the temporarily occupied territories are increasingly witnessing a very different reality. Constant explosions, burning military hardware, and the occupiers' frantic attempts to salvage their logistics. They also advise local residents to remain careful as Russian troops try to protect their convoys by driving amongst civilian vehicles.
Yeah, so Odessa is the prize. That is what Putin wanted in the first place. And if he can't have that, if he comes home without Odessa, he's finished.
There are lots of scoops and exclusives today. The Financial Times reports that Ukraine is seeking approval from Elon Musk to use Starlink-equipped drones
you think he's
against
say
ballistic
yes?
missile launchers up
On,
to 200
Elon,
kilometers inside Russia. So there are two main obstacles to this project. One, as we know, Musk's support to Ukraine.
I've heard they're either Ukraine or some European agency is creating its own version of Starlink, so it won't even be necessary. Probably pretty soon, hopefully by the end of this year. Don't quote me on that.
Has not always been consistent. As we know, he has shut down Starlinks before. And the second one, which is very topical, is that the man in Kyiv who has a direct line to Musk is Mikhailo Fedorov, the former defense minister who was recently fired and who just this week called for elections.
Now onto Wildberries. There's more fallout from the strikes in terms of local production and industry. A Russian publisher has reportedly cut print
There's your
runs
explosions,
after
guys. The mandatory
warehouses where their books are
blood and
stored
guts.
have been struck. So two sources at
The train
major
wreck
retail
we can't
chains have
look away
told
from.
Russian Business Daily Kommersant that some Russian publishers have stopped printing new titles and are cutting their print runs. The general
would they? They
director
can't sell
of
them at
publishing
Wildberries
house
anymore.
Rossmann, leading Russian publishing house, said that the print runs they planned to sell to cover their costs had gone up in flames, and that publishing houses are really cutting the number of new titles
Literally.
and projects that are supposed to be coming out. A source at one of the companies told Kommersant that storing products in the marketplace warehouses, the Wildberries warehouses, are now dangerous. An update on
I wonder if the Russians must have idioms. I wonder what their idiom is for, all my profits went up in flames, idiomatically. I wonder. These are the things I think about on my long walk home.
the Nord Stream alleged saboteur. So we covered the story on Wednesday when they picked up a suspect in Croatia
who's
and
this guy?
found a German arrest. Now, there's a bit more information come out about this. So as a reminder, the Nord Stream pipeline was used to carry Russian gas between Germany and Russia across the Baltic Sea. But in 2022, an operation was done which meant that it was blown up, and it sort of launched this international whodunit. Some people thought it was the CIA, some thought it was Putin, but Germany put out arrest warrants for what they believed were 6 Ukrainians who were part of a team that planted the explosives. So we reported earlier the week that an alleged suspect had been arrested in Croatia. But here's the interesting twist. So at the time of the arrest, Vladimir Zhiralov, the
Hunter
alleged
Biden.
suspect, was working as an advisor on a film starring Sean Penn and Adrian Brody, which will actually dramatise the events surrounding the 2022 explosion.
Wait, hang on. So he was
Maybe they'll win an
consulting on the
Oscar.
film.
He was consulting on the film. Apparently, according to German prosecutors, he's a trained scuba diver, which
Natural.
they argue could have helped him plant the explosives. So it's a very strange situation. It's like
James Bond.
doing the Italian Job
In
and then
real life.
working on the Italian Job film as a
Right.
Expert in putting gold bars into the
That
back
is
of trucks.
actually
Well,
quite excellent.
why not?
Yeah.
Sean Penn is a huge supporter of Ukraine. I mean,
He is.
he's been out there a good few times. And the film's, it's still in production, so hopefully that will come out and we'll find out. But it's a really great twist in this story. As I said, it's alleged. He's still awaiting trial. Actually, he's going to be extradited to Germany to face trial in the federal German court.
My goodness, that film is going to be so historically accurate.
I mean, if he did it, then he'd be a great advisor. But as I say,
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. Now, can you guess who's going to be playing in
All
St.
right,
Petersburg?
I'm going to cut it there. All right, I'll play the rest of it next week. Yeah, so on next week's KRAKOW report, not on the Super Sunday update. So whoever puts the correct answer in the comments below, the first correct answer, eligible for a prize. I don't know what the prize is yet. I'll let you know on Sunday. I'll finalize the contest and notify the winners. All right. Don't cheat. Don't look it up. There were some clues in there. I don't know if you noticed the clues. I got some human interest stories, maybe. It's just like, all this news and politics gets to be so much. Jeek. So the Jeek have taken over. It's not uncommon when you're out in just taking a walk, especially if there's, wooded area nearby, you'll see wild pig, or boar as we call them in the US, and they can do some damage. I've heard they're good eats. Here's some more Jeek. Some more Jeek footage. The cops are chasing them around. Like, get out of here. Get out of here, you Jeek. Put the spelling up on the... so the J sound, the Poles don't... J is not in there. It is not in there. They can't do it. So the J in Jeek or Jean Jalbre is a DZ combination to get you this Z. Oh, and places in Poland. Sopot, Gdynia, Gdansk is the Tri-City area. It's right up on the sea. I don't know where that park is. The Tri-City area, Gdansk, Gdynia, Sopot, is next on my list of places to visit. All right, you guys. Thanks so much for joining me today. Catch you on the flip side. All right. See you next time.